Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is a long-awaited tutorial on the Chopin Scherzo in B-flat minor, Opus 31. It's the second scherzo in the set of 4, and you can watch a recently uploaded video on YouTube of a performance I did last weekend in El Paso, Texas. So this is how the piece goes, if you're not familiar with it. And you can take a lot of different tempos. That might have been a little on the slow side. I've heard people take it this fast, which I think is a little on the fast side. I wouldn't go much slower than what I first played. But I think that would be a good starting point, and then you could get a bit faster if you wanted to. Just keep in mind that whatever you choose at the beginning, you're going to have to continue on in that beautiful lyrical section. So you don't want that to feel too rushed, but you also don't want it to lag. Okay, what are we going to be going over today? In specific, we're going to be going over how to make your practice as efficient as possible. I'm going to show you different fingerings that I use. I'm going to go over counting. This piece is so important to count. I even took a lesson on it a few weeks ago with my teacher, and there was a few spots where she's like, you're still even clipping the rests a little bit. So we're going to be going over that. We're going to be going over voicing, shaping, and we're going to be going over a variety of ways to shape different sections. A variety of ways of shaping the same section. This comes back several times. And then it comes back later in the piece, but it also does... So how can we shape that differently to keep things interesting? How can we shape all of this middle section? Can we bring out the middle voice? How can we make this so beautiful and lyrical? And finally, how do you get around all those crazy arpeggios with ease? I'm going to show you some tips that I use to help me in my performance. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to talk about these first little figures. I've taught this piece several times, and now having played it, I understand what is so difficult about it. A lot of students, they'll mush these together. We don't want to do that. We want to have the clarity. But one thing that my teacher told me that I found very interesting, she said, Josh, you're accenting your Fs, so you're going... And I said, oh my gosh, it's probably because I've taught this so many times and my students don't pick up their fingers, so I'm doing super high fingers. So the first thing I want each of you to try is finger staccato, just to get that clarity. And you can just play them all evenly with sound. Okay, right hand 1, 2, 3, 5, left hand 4, 3, 2, 1. So... we want to get that clarity. Now, as you get a little faster, it can start to connect a little bit more. But you still want that clarity. We don't want that. Now, what my teacher said with the accenting, she said it should be bum, dum, like almost like a like a little evaporation. And she said you can almost like pull your fingers back. Be careful though, because in that lesson with her, I started to mush too, because I started pulling and then my fingers became less active. So it kind of started to do that. So you still have to have the clarity. Think of that finger staccato touch, but think of a little evaporating diminuendo. I'll also say something that was very interesting in the third scherzo. I will do a pro practice at some point on that as well. But I did a lesson with Boris Slutsky back at Peabody Conservatory, just a private lesson. And he said that's a very strange piece counting-wise as well. But there's a lot of similarities between that scherzo and this. And he said if you think of the large-scale counting, it can really help you to keep things more even. So rather than thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, that gets a little tedious. He said 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Sorry, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Same thing here. 1 and 2 and 1. You can count 1, 2, 3, and I would highly recommend doing that when you're in slower tempos or when you're first starting out. Count your microbeats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. As you get into faster tempos, though, that can start to get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you can start to gradually rush those a little bit more, and which you don't want to do. So 1 and 2 and 1. And I always cheat a little bit on the side of extra time because I know my adrenaline's going to be pumping and I'm going to want to rush into that. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Okay, so that takes care of the counting. The other thing that I want to talk about on this first section is the polarity. We have this very soft sottovoce, under voice, very creepy, mysterious, kind of sneaking up on you, and then fortissimo. Don't just bang those keys as hard as you possibly can. Use your full body weight and voice your tops. Also, drive down. 1, 2, 1. I'm also in this tutorial going to give you variations on how you can shape this for later in the piece because I don't want to go through every single bar of the entire piece when they are repeating because this piece has a lot of repetitions in it. I'm going to just, the first time we go through it, give you all of the different variations and then you can apply it to all of the different sections that repeat. Okay, so this first part. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And you could even cheat that a little on the longer side. I like to drive to these first ones for the whole first half until we get to this beautiful middle section. The second time through, though, on that last figure before the end, I like to trick the audience and I go just for that one. Just kind of come down. I think that's really nice. Okay, so counting, so incredibly important. Let's jump down to, by the way, this is the Ekier edition, often referred to as the Chopin National Edition. There was so much discrepancy between the Paderewski and the Mikuli editions that I already owned that I said I better get this score and compare it because this is the one that the Chopin International Piano Competition recommends. So I'm going to be teaching from this score today. Jumping down to bar 30, I've had students play that and they really struggle with getting those really crisp and clear and fast enough. So one thing that helps me is to think of a clock. So tick, tick, tick. Okay, think of your hand doing multiple ticks. You can do this like with octaves, like La Campanella is where I first learned this. Rather than thinking down, 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 and like your wrist getting really tight, you can grab several notes in one motion. And you're just gonna grab 2 chords in one up motion. Of course, you're actually going down, down, but in your mind, you're thinking up, and you're just kind of leaning forward like that. So you're getting the motion in your hand to accommodate a faster tempo. Same thing there. Same thing. You could even think down, up if you want to. However you need to think of that, but don't let those chords get laggy. So. Time there. One other detail that I didn't personally observe too well in my performance that my teacher went over with me is this. rest. So I kind of combined it and just let go when I got to the A. You may want to separate those. Okay, let me play this whole first page up to here for you now, combining all those ideas we just did. 1, 2, 3. And I like to shape this, start softer and then bigger to there. And I actually go to there and then come down just a little. Gives a little extra shape rather than just, which you actually hear in a lot of recordings, unfortunately, just people just hitting that as hard as they can with no shape. And I actually purposely rushed out just a little. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I kind of give back the time here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You don't want to go crazy with that idea, but if you want to push that a little bit, that's okay. Okay, continuing on. Start a little less. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, when you get to here, I like this.